I will, yeah. Thanks, David. Johnny, it's good to see you again.
Oh my God.
The victory, the manner of the victory, the performance against Japan last week, how important is it? So that is now the new base camp, if you understand what I mean, in terms of Ireland and moving forward, particularly with New Zealand coming this weekend.
Yeah, it was important for us to start on a good note. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves last week, to not be sat in here today or yesterday and saying, we only had a few sessions to prepare. Like we made sure that we prepared properly with the limited time that we had. And I think now that the coaches have been in place for, a couple of years or 18 months, whatever it is, that we're starting to get used to the systems and stuff like that, and we were able to hit the ground running. But at the same time, we saw a few things in the game that the All Blacks might have seen, and we need to brush up on a couple of things to make sure we're ready to go against the best team in the world on Saturday.
Now, mentioning New Zealand, between Ireland and the British and Irish lines, you've played against them on 13 occasions. You've won 3 of those matches. What makes them so A, difficult to play against, and B, so difficult to beat?
I think it's the intensity that they bring to the game, the physicality. By intensity, I mean the speed they play at, and at the same time being physical. So, I don't think it's. We know what's coming because we played against them so many times, but there's a few lads that haven't played against them that we have to kind of fill them in and let them know that, what it's like out there against them. And look, all the focus is on making sure that we can get our best performance out there at the weekend. We know what quality they possess. We know their coaches quite well, obviously, having, been coached by Greg Feek and John Plumtree before. Like we know that, the strengths that they're going to bring. So, we just got to make sure that we're in the best place possible come Saturday.
Cheers, Ben. Thanks.
Thanks.
Hi, Johnny. This, obviously great, exciting brand of rugby that you played on Saturday. Do you stick with that? Do you double down on that now for the visit of the All Blacks?
Well, like that's just the way the game unfolded on Saturday. Like we've always had the license to do that. You know what I mean? But if teams show a different picture, like you can't do that all the time. We'd love to do it all the time, and we just got presented the pictures and we read them quite well and executed off the back of it. But if a team comes with and they put 14 guys in the front line, you can't run it. You gotta kick more, or you gotta target different space. So. In an ideal world, yes, but if it comes and it's raining or the conditions are really bad and they play a different type of defence to what Japan showed us, well then we'll play the right options that we see fit. The most important thing is that we win, and that's what we're judged on. And it's great getting some plaudits for how we played the game on Saturday. We showed bits of that through the Six Nations, but I think what's the pleasing part about it was that it was a bit more consistent this week. But again, I think Japan even said themselves they were not too happy with what they put up on the day. So we'll be playing against much better opposition this week, I think.
Obviously, in the last 4 occasions, you've beaten them twice. We know what happened in 2019. But do you think they respect you a bit more since you beat them that time in Dublin?
I'm not sure. You'd have to ask them. I think. Look. When you go back to that 2019 game, was the biggest one of the lot of them, and we didn't play as well as we could have. We made mistakes which they capitalised on. We didn't take the chances that we had, and that's the game. That's the game. If they go a couple of scores up, they're very hard to chase down. So, like I said previously, we've got to concentrate on ourselves, make sure we get the very, very best performance that we can out on the pitch on Saturday, and we'll see where that leaves us. That's where all our focus is on at the moment. Thanks.
Johnny, can I ask you about having a full house again? Were there times during the lockdown when you thought you may never play on such an occasion, the All Blacks on a Saturday afternoon in a full Aviva, and was the crowd meet you?
Yeah, it was, like even last Saturday was amazing to have that many people back, and I think this week will be a notch up again. There's not a ticket to be got anywhere from what I hear. So it's we're all, you know, really looking forward to getting back into a full Aviva. Little bit of a later kick-off, so the supporters will have had a couple of extra drinks, and I'm sure the atmosphere will go to a different level.
Right, thanks.
Johnny, there's going to be so many exciting matchups across the field. Bowden Barrett spoke very glowingly about you in their media conference late last night. What are your thoughts on Bowden, who you've obviously met so many times before, as your kind of almost head-to-head adversary? If you don't understand what I mean in that sense.
Yeah, he's an outstanding player. You know, whether he plays at 10 or 15, he brings his strengths to the game. He's just a freak of a runner, and he's got a lot of skills as well with it. You know, great kicking game. You know, out of hand. You know, those kick passes that he can do, that small, you know, chipping game that he does for himself or for others. He's a strong guy. You know, he goes to the line well, and he picks a good pass. So he's got it all really. So a guy that we're going to have to look out for, whether they go with him at 10 or Moanga, we're not sure at this stage. But I would guess that Bowden will be in the team somewhere. So he's obviously a threat and one of their biggest strengths.
And Johnny, Hugo Keenan was just saying to us before you about how effectively Ireland are kind of transitioning out of defence when necessary into attack, and the different means and ways you can do it, as well as the speed against the might of New Zealand. How crucial might that capacity be?
Yeah, it's a key part of the game now, the transition. You know, if you've got good D and you turn the ball over well, it's how you use it, and that's something that we've worked on massively over the last 18 months, and you can see some of that come to the fore over the last couple of games. But likewise, if we turn the ball over against an All Blacks, you know, breakdown, which is very aggressive, and their defence is very aggressive, that we need to get back into our defensive system as quick as we can, because they're brilliant from turnover, brilliant from counter-attack. It's probably their biggest strength. So both sides of the ball, we need to be ready for those transitions.
Thank you, good luck.
Thanks.
Hey Johnny, how's it going? Just to talk about the attack again, can I ask, like, have you ever had as many options in an Ireland team when you're on the ball? Because that struck me last week, that every single time you had multiple chances to do different things.
Yeah, like I said, we've been working on it very hard over the last couple of years, and I think we had seen it, like I said previously, we've seen it before. Like, you know, I think back to the Italy game, obviously the Wales game last year, we played with 14, but which is more difficult. But you know, against Italy, we did some good things against Scotland. Then England, we did some. So it's been more evident in this calendar year. We were still probably getting used to it before that, but you know, there's still a bit to go yet. You know, we're not kidding ourselves. We're not saying we know it all. But yeah, there was the boys worked hard off the ball, and they created a lot of opportunity. And as a 10, you're only as good as the guys around you, really, and they have to make sure that you've got those options, and we did it really well on Saturday, but we need to up it again this week.
Andy said he didn't want an attack that's too tidy, and he said the same about James Lowe. He doesn't want players who are too tidy. What does that mean to you as a tactical leader? Is that something that you agree with? Yeah,
I know what he means by it, of course, because we speak about it. Like, he wants those wingers, you know, getting involved, working off their wing. He doesn't want them being a winger out in the wing, like, you know what I mean. He doesn't want them in those fixed positions. He wants us to be unpredictable, because that's the hardest thing to defend against, is a team that you don't know what they're going to do. So I thought the wingers did that really well last week with Hugo. Their work rate was outstanding, and I think they're the guys that created a lot of the opportunities. You know, creating those extra men at times. So hopefully they can bring the same this week.
And finally for me, just on the All Blacks, like, everyone talks about their attack, and maybe in the past defence was a second priority for them. How much has that changed?
Yeah, it has. You said it. They seem to put a lot of emphasis on their defence. They've changed. I think they used to be a very soft, not soft as in like a line speed on the edges. They wouldn't come up on the edges, but they've changed fully now from what we've seen. They're very aggressive from the outside in, and they try and put you under pressure. So something different to play against compared to what we've been in the past. But there's still a lot of similarities with how good they are off turnover and at the breakdown, and some of the key individual threats they have. So some things have changed, but others haven't.
Thanks, Goel.
Thanks.
Time for just one more in this section with John.
Hi, Johnny. I'm sure you don't want to against it, but earlier on in the year they had a montage of some option taking, maybe 4 or 5 times when Ireland took the wrong option and compounding errors. And the match in Japan seems to suggest that you've made a 180-degree turn on that because all the options seem to be right. Have you spoken about the progression in that area? Does it stem from everybody being calmer on the pitch? Do you notice your teammates are a bit calmer when various options are on?
We always want to be a little bit calmer on the ball and with our communication, off it, and it's marrying that with the work rate and making sure that we're, when you have the ball and you're going to the line, that you're aggressive with it. But there was I don't know what game you're talking about where we took the wrong option. It could be that England and Twickenham game where we were getting hit behind the gain line. We kept trying to get the ball to space, you know what I mean? And that's, again, just learning how to play against a more aggressive defence. And, we had planned to play against a very aggressive defence with Japan. They I suppose, tried to be, but I suppose some of our starter play stuff was good and we got them on the back foot and they weren't able to recover. But we know with New Zealand that it's not going to be the same, you know what I mean? We'll have to grind it out a bit more and it's I'm just can you remember what game you were talking about or
I think it was just before so it was a montage of some examples from maybe the France game and that's it was a montage before the final Six Nations game this year with various overlaps that weren't spotted, for example, or kicking the ball when it should have been kept in hand.
Okay. Well, that's learning, isn't it? That's what you want from any team. Is if you have a couple of games where things don't go to plan and you haven't taken the right options, if you learn from it and you go forward, that's good coaching. It's good by the players. It's good by everyone. So we'll take it as a compliment, and hopefully we can continue in this vein going forward.